Malala Yousafzai.
Hello, how have you been?
I haven't seen you.
I know.
When you came on the show, you were 16 years old.
I know, I was a teenager and so much has changed in my life since then.
Yes.
I'm in my late 20s now. I have graduated from college. I got married. I do my work for girls' education.
Right.
I'm working on women's sports. I published a new memoir. And I'm not scared of dogs anymore.
She was. To be fair, my dog used to follow me around the office, and he was a three-legged pit bull, yes. A brindle pit bull, and Malala had just faced down, obviously, the Taliban, but she never crossed anybody like Dipper before, so that it was a little scary.
Yeah, so much has changed in my life.
Yes.
How have you been?
Very much the same. Not at all. Not much. You know, my kids now, they were little when you were here. Now they're off at college, and I'm an empty nester. My wife and I, we sit around and we watch a lot of Netflix. Are you watching? Here's what I loved about the memoir. You, at such a young age, we elevated you, not because it wasn't spectacular what you did, but we did make you a two-dimensional caricature. And the book humanizes and three-dimensionalizes you in a way that's really rewarding to see.
Yeah, you know, I thought I was supposed to live my life a certain way.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's quite rare to be called a Nobel Peace Prize laureate and an education activist when you are still a teenager. And I thought it means that I have to live a perfect life now. I have to be a perfect daughter, a perfect person. I cannot get anything wrong, and that I'm supposed to know the answer to everything in my life, that I can't make mistakes. But I realized that, you know, that was not the true me, that I didn't have to sacrifice friendship and so much of my normal life.
Right.
So when I went to college, that's when I changed everything. Because at school, you know, at this high school in the UK, I struggled to make friends. By the end of my high school, I had only made one friend, and that's because she fell out with her best friend. I was brought to the UK for my treatment, and then I had to adjust to a new life. So in college, I said, you know what, I want to do this differently. I signed up for every club and every society because I wanted to meet as many students as possible so that I could make some friends. And I had signed up for like the Pakistan Society and Christian Society, Hindu Society, Muslim Society. And I was like, just go everywhere. You'll find someone.
Now, did that ever get confusing at some point?
Not at all.
No, you kept going. You signed up for rowing.
Yes.
You rowed?
That was a big mistake because...
Yes.
Yeah, because you have to be up very early, and I'm not a morning person.
That's true.
And you need to know how to swim. Yeah. So
No,
that was my first and last experience.
Yes. No, it makes...
But this is how desperate I was, because I was really scared that college would become another of those times for me where I don't make any friends, and I just was so tired of my serious life that I was supposed to live. And I felt that, you know, why do I have to make sacrifices on a normal life? So at college, I just wanted to be a student more than anything. And then I became a bit reckless as well, because I said, you know what, I don't just want to be a student, I want to be a cool student. So I heard about rooftop climbing. I went for that.
Boom.
I heard about students.
You blew off classes, didn't take essays. I read the book, I know what happened. There's some...
Yeah, and there was a bad boy as well.
There was a bad boy.
Was my first crush, yes. I know.
Your first crush. I'm reading it, and I'm just like, oh, Malala.
Yeah.
It's this guy, and he smokes cigarettes, and he shows up at your room every now and again to eat ramen, and you give him food, and he takes it, and he doesn't give you any money, and I was like, he's no good for you.
Yeah, I wish we had talked then.
Yes. And then your professors, because you're also still doing your work with women's education and all these things, and your professors are, you know, grading you poorly because you didn't get an essay done, but did you ever want to go to them and go like, I'm sorry, I was speaking at The Hague? Like, you had this whole other life you were living.
It was quite challenging to balance the advocacy life, but also being a student. And as I said, in college, like they tell you that you can only have 2 of the 3, study, sleep, and social life.
Yeah.
And I chose 1, social life. I just wanted to be with my friends forever, like late nights, conversations, gossiping, talking about boys, any topic. I knew that these moments will never come back.
Right.
And I was feeling that these 3 years of my college are going to be so precious. Like my parents are not around. I can decide, like I can do anything. And I love that. And I made friends for the first time.
Right.
And I found that comfort zone. Like I felt that I didn't have to think twice before what I said, and I could make mistakes, I can be silly.
Right.
And I reconnected with that person that I was growing up in Pakistan. I was a very like mischievous, funny person there, and I had a lot of friends.
That's what you said in the book that I found so interesting, is that your life before this fame and image was thrust upon you due to this attack is you were mischievous. You liked to gossip. You and your friends, like that was the thing you said you missed the most.
Yes. I mean, yes. Who doesn't like gossiping? So
I'm with you. and it's tough. And I thought it was interesting because not only was the world placing this expectation on you, but also coming from the culture that you come from. It's a very conservative culture, especially with regards to women. One thing I thought was so interesting is, you know, you're talking about the fear you had about having someone take your picture if you were going to be dancing, or maybe talking to a boy, or maybe not having a headscarf on, or those things that would be considered. And then you'd be like, meanwhile, my brothers are playing video games and getting high in the basement. And I thought, well, that is, how did they get to do that? And so much was on you.
So I was very careful in the early days of college, and I said, you know what, anything can be taken out of context, so I'm going to stay away from all of these things, partying, whatever. And then one day, when I was coming back from rowing, somebody took a picture of me where in the photo I'm wearing skinny jeans and a bomber jacket and my headscarf. And this whole
rowing
backlash.
Equipment.
And there was this whole controversy on social media calling me out and saying that I had brought shame to the country and I was more like westernized and I was no longer representing my culture. And I remember having this conversation with my parents who were like freaking out. And I told them that I'm in college for studying to be a normal student. I'm not here for some pilgrimage. Firstly, I'm not here to represent anything. But also, I reminded them that when my brother moved to the UK, they immediately switched to jeans and T-shirts, and we did not receive a single call from relatives or any backlash. And then they were worried about, you know, how are we going to respond to that? And I said, I'm not going to respond to any of this because people will always have something to say about what we wear, our headscarf to our jeans. So the best thing to do is keep wearing jeans, and that's the best response.
Right. So, fantastic. Now, in those times, there's so many different things. Were you more nervous about a backlash from conservative people in Pakistan? Were you more concerned about a social media backlash, or were you more concerned about your mom? Like, which one out of those 3, which one weighed heaviest, do you think?
You know, I have seen social media backlash many, many times, and I have learned to live with it. Honestly, like if it's a good feedback, I take it with me. But a lot of the times, the attempt is to stop us and to silence us from our work. And I'm like, that's never going to happen. And I'm like, I hope they get tired of typing the hateful comments. Like they will, they'll get tired. But then on the other hand is my mom. And I can never argue with my mom.
She will never be tired of typing.
No, she... typing, speaking, whatever you call it, the look that she gives you. And I am like terrified when I'm in front of my mom. So I think with my mom, I have these conversations and I know that she had a very different childhood in her village. None of her sisters or friends or she herself could go to school. Like, you know, I even asked her in the recent years what her dream was growing up.
This was, I thought that story was heartbreaking,
and
actually.
She said that her dream was to just find the right guy who would be a nice husband and who would just get her like nice food and she could go shopping. And I said, but no, Mom, like what was your dream? And there was no answer. And that broke my heart that there has been a generation or many generations of women who never even had dreams for themselves. So she was always trying to protect me because they had seen the worst things happen to girls if they dare to disobey any of the norms. But you know, sometimes it was always like an argument between us, like what am I wearing, what am I doing? Yeah, but in the end, we sort of resolve it. Yeah.
Right, and come together. Yeah,
Yes.
it's lovely that way, and it's the kind of thing too, because every community that wants to claim you as their own also sets this expectation for you of who you're supposed to be. Even within, I'm sure, the activist communities, my guess is their criticism now is you don't do enough. You've got to do more here, or why don't you speak out about this? Or now you've gone, you know, bougie or soft, or now you don't. Is that the thing that you now have to block out and just focus on? Because I know, congratulations to you on your school.
Yeah.
They just graduated their first class.
Yes, so it's in the north of Pakistan.
Huzzah! That's amazing.
Yeah. So I started this school with the Nobel Peace Prize money, and it was my dream to make a school in the village of my parents where there was no high school. And I said, if we can make a school in this marginalized, mountainous area that is often left behind, we can make a school anywhere in the world. So the school finally had the first class graduate this year, and I met those girls, and it was empowering for the whole community because those girls are changing history, they're changing culture, they're going to universities now, and the school is amazing because they have like mental health support, and they play chess, and they play different games, and I just loved that it was a state-of-the-art school. So I'm really excited for the difference we're making for girls. But you know, I'm committed to making a difference for girls through education, through creating more opportunities. And I have been an activist for a very long time. I have seen what works for a while but doesn't work anymore. I have also seen sometimes that statements actually fall short, like these words sometimes don't mean anything. And I always think about how can we make real power shift. And I believe we have to empower local activists. And this is the whole model of Malala Fund. The fundraising we do, the money goes directly to local education activists, because the work that my father and I did in our hometown, there are so many activists around the world who are doing that work on the ground, making a difference for girls. And I believe that we can see a change. We can see more girls in schools by supporting them.
And you can't be everything to everybody. It's just not a realistic... That for me, the takeaway of all this is so much of what you dealt with were our projections onto you. And the unfairness of all of that. And what that did, you know, you write very movingly and openly about mental health.
Yeah.
And the PTSD that came along. How did you get, forget about the courage to do what you did in terms of education, the courage to go and speak to somebody about the difficulties you were having?
So yeah, I got therapy 7 years after the Taliban attack. And in my first therapy session, I told my therapist all of the challenges that I was going through, including the flashbacks of the Taliban attack and many, many panic attacks for months. And then I told the therapist, here's all my problems, now give me the medication. Because I was of this view that, you know, that it's always medication and surgeries that are supposed to treat you and help you recover. I even remember that I was offered therapy as part of my initial treatment to recover from the Taliban injury, but I refused to get it because I thought that I'm supposed to be called brave and courageous, and asking for help makes me feel weak. So
you took that identity on even for yourself. You internalized.
I thought I had to live up to this definition,
Right.
But then I realized that actually true bravery is still doing what you believe in, even when you are scared.
Right. It's hard to do that. And did you find that process you were able to get a better balance for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I felt that this was this, you know, unfinished part of my recovery. And I got therapy many, many years later, but I'm so grateful that I received that support.
And now you married us.
Yes.
I read about him in the book.
Yes.
And then I met him backstage. And do you mind me saying this? Bit of a dreamboat. a little dreamy. Very nice. But you struggled even with that.
You know, I always aim high.
You got to. Gotta aim high.
Yes.
That's the way to do these things.
Yeah.
But even in that, it was a little like there were some dynamics there that you weren't quite sure you ever wanted to get married. You had done these things. It took a bit.
I know, absolutely. Because when I was a kid, I decided that I will never get married.
You decided that as a kid?
Because I saw many girls lose their education and their dreams because they were forced into marriages.
Oh,
and as I got older, I realized that women oftentimes have to make more compromises. And I said, like, just stay away from marriage. Your life will have less problems. But then I see this guy, and he's very, very handsome and all of that. So that's when I had to reconsider my take on this issue. And of course, it's not that my concerns have gone away, but in the end, it was about this mutual understanding between the two of us. We both have brought more joy into each other's lives. But yes, you know, it's a bigger conversation. And before, like, the marriage, I was, like, even reading feminist authors like Bell Hooks. I was like, maybe she can help me out. Virginia Woolf.
Sure.
Like, maybe
always good when the woman you're going to marry is reading a little Bell Hooks. That's always...
Yes. Yeah, but I do remember I was in my friends group. I was the one who told all of my friends, never get married, and I was the first one to get married.
Really?
Yes.
Now, did they come to your wedding and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa?
Yeah.
Well, it's a fantastic look into the three-dimensional life of really an activist icon in our era, and it's so appreciated. That you would put it out there, and I hope that you got everything out of it that you wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that people will know me more by reading this book, and this is the most personal reflections I have ever shared. This is about my life, navigating my way through college. I talk about mental health and friendships, and you know, I talk about how I am leading my life, doing advocacy and work for all girls who do not have equal opportunities, most importantly for the Afghan girls who are banned from their education right now.
Well,
it's been more than 4.5 years, so we keep the fight going.
Keep it going, and the chapter on Afghanistan and the Taliban is devastating. It comes towards the end of the book when you find out that they've retaken it, and devastating, but it's a wonderful piece of writing, so thank you for sharing it.
Thank you so much.
Very nice. Malala Yousafzai.